Good evening, friends. Night number 5, here we are, and here we go. Selfishness is a mechanism that destroys itself. That's it. One-liner. Selfishness is a mechanism that destroys itself. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on that one. My sense is that it's because being selfish destroys the capacity to feed the soul. It destroys the capacity to change one's nature from receiver to giver, from one who is enmeshed in the physical reality to one who longs to unite with the divine. Next passage. In our broken state, we think that we can derive intense enjoyment from the physical pleasures of the world. In our broken state, we think that we can derive intense enjoyment from the physical pleasures of the world, and that the spiritual path of Torah, mitzvot, and giving to others brings suffering. That the spiritual path of Torah and mitzvot and giving to others brings suffering. This is why people run after receiving and run away from giving. People run after receiving and run away from giving. The truth is the exact opposite. So yeah, in our broken state, we think we can derive intense enjoyment from physical pleasures of the world, and we do. And we tend to think that the spiritual path, of Torah, of mitzvot, of spiritual practice, and of giving to others, of avodat Hashem, of service to spirit, to the divine, brings suffering. Well, what does that mean? It brings suffering. That from our broken state, discipline and spiritual practice brings about the taking away of physical pleasure. Right? When we think of a monk, we think of an ascetic, someone who denies oneself physical pleasure. So from that broken state, we think that the spiritual path brings suffering. It takes us away from the pursuit of pleasures and brings us to a state where we're not interested in that. This is why people run after receiving. They run after trying to get physical pleasure and run away from giving. We prefer to go towards receiving than to go towards giving. And as he finishes this passage, the truth is the exact opposite. That the intense enjoyment actually comes from the spiritual path. Once we get a new nature, once we change our nature and transform how we see the world and ourselves and God. Next passage. Working spiritually to attain the desire to give is not the heart of the matter. Working spiritually to attain the desire to give is not the heart of the matter. The main work is to strive to acquire a new nature of having love for others. The main work is to strive to acquire a new nature of having love for others. Afterwards, the desire to give comes naturally. So what does that mean? That after acquiring the desire, a new nature of having love for others, the desire to give comes naturally. And that working to attain a desire to give is not actually the heart of the matter. Right? We might think from the passages that we should be doing the spiritual work to attain the desire to give, which, I mean, it says throughout the material. But in this passage, it's saying it's not actually the heart of the matter. The main work is to strive to acquire a new nature of having love for others, and that giving comes naturally after that. So when we have a new nature, when we transform our current nature of receiving to a nature of, or our current nature of self-centeredness or selfishness, as it said in the previous passages, and this new nature that we acquire is of love for others, then naturally we want to give. And I spoke about this a bit last night, right? That when we have a pure heart and we see the other as an extension of the divine, then we naturally want to give to them, because we feel that we're giving to God. We're giving to God by giving to the other. So this is another way of expressing that sentiment. Okay, one more. Every branch wants to be similar to its root. Therefore, we are not able to rest until we obtain the state of giving. Right? So every branch wants to be similar to its root. What does that mean? It means that the root is God, is the divine, is spirit, and the nature of spirit is to be giving. God is all giving. God does not need to receive in any way, shape, or form. And so therefore we are not able to actually rest until we have attained the state of giving that emulates our Creator. Okay, we'll pause there for tonight. Have a good night. Blessings to all. Please share any comments, any thoughts, any questions, and would love to interact with you all. Okay, good night.